The hero they celebrated for a decade was never there. They weren't funding his education. They were funding his return. October 31st, 1981. Godric's Hollow. The air crackles not with magic, but with ozone and dread. The killing curse strikes Lily Potter, and she falls. Voldemort turns to the crib, a final, triumphant act. But the curse, intended to kill, does something else. It doesn't rebound, it finds a home. The Dark Lord's soul, fractured and desperate, pours into the empty vessel. There is no scream, no flash of protective magic, only a terrifying, profound silence. When Hagrid arrives, he finds a child that does not cry, a baby whose green eyes seem to hold the weight of centuries. He mistakes this silence for shock, for trauma. He could never comprehend the truth. The child left on the Dursleys' doorstep is not Harry Potter. It is a king, temporarily dethroned, waiting in a prison of flesh. The Dursleys expected a child. They received an anomaly. Harry never cried, not for food, not for comfort, not from pain. He simply watched, observed, catalogued their weaknesses. By age 5 he found companions in the garden. The Dursleys saw a freak talking to serpents. He was practicing his mother tongue. His prison was the cupboard under the stairs, but its lock was merely a suggestion. At night he would walk the silent house, a ghost in his own home. He learned control, subtlety, the art of wielding power without a wand. The neighborhood dogs would fall silent when he passed, their instincts screaming a warning the humans couldn't hear. He would practice small curses, flexing muscles he hadn't used in a decade. His magic wasn't the wild, accidental outbursts of a normal wizard child. It was precise, vicious, and utterly controlled. The letters began to arrive, a mundane annoyance at first, but the soul within Harry recognized the seal. Hogwarts, a tool, a means to an end. Vernon Dursley's panic was amusing, a fragile mind breaking against an inevitable tide. The storm, the shack on the rock, it was all just theater leading to the main act. When the door crashed open, the boy wasn't scared. He was impatient. Hagrid saw James's hair and Lily's eyes. He saw a legacy. The soul inside saw a pawn, a simple, loyal fool. "You're a wizard, Harry." The words landed in a room that already knew. There was no magic to explain, no shock, no wonder. Just a silent, chilling acceptance. It was time to go home. Diagon Alley wasn't a world of wonder. It was an armory. The wand of holly and phoenix feather. It didn't choose him. It recognized him. A brother's call across time and magic. A faint echo of his former power. On the Hogwarts Express, he didn't seek friends. He assessed threats and potential followers. The Great Hall, a castle he knew intimately, now seen through a child's eyes. His name is called. The hall whispers, "The boy who lived." The hat is placed on his head, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the Sorting Hat feels pure, undiluted terror. It doesn't delve into his mind. It touches the surface and is burned by an ancient, vast, and evil consciousness. There is no debate, no choice. A fraction of a second is all it takes. The hat screams its verdict to the hall. Sly Tyrion. Dumbledore's eyes, usually twinkling, are cold and sharp. For the first time he feels a flicker of genuine doubt. The boy takes his seat, a serpent returned to its nest, a faint, cold smile playing on his lips. The first year at Hogwarts is a game of patience. He plays the part of the gifted orphan, the prodigy. He allows them to see what they want to see. But he feels the other presence in the castle. A fragment, a weak, pathetic echo of himself, clinging to life. Professor Quirrell. The stuttering, fearful man is a vessel for another piece of his own fractured soul. The journey to the Philosopher's Stone is not a test. It is a pilgrimage. He doesn't solve the puzzles. He commands them. In the final chamber, there is no confrontation. There is a reunion. Quirrell unwraps his turban. The monstrous face on the back of his head does not snarl. It smiles. The boy reaches out, not to attack, but to welcome. His hand touches Quirrell's skin. There is no burning, no agony. A soul, fractured for over a decade, begins to merge. Quirrell's body crumbles to dust, its purpose served. The boy stands alone, more whole, more powerful than he has been in years. Far away, in the cold darkness of Azkaban, a prisoner wastes away. Sirius Black is sustained by a single thought: he is innocent. The Dementors feed on his happiness, but they cannot take his burning rage, his knowledge of the truth. One day, the Minister of Magic visits. He leaves behind a newspaper. On the front page, a picture of the Weasley family, and in the photo, a boy holding a rat. Peter Pettigrew, the traitor, alive. But it's another photograph, weeks later, that turns his blood to ice. He isn't looking at the scar, he's looking at the eyes. He sees the way the boy stands, the subtle arrogance, the coldness behind the smile. This isn't his godson, it's a mask. A perfect, horrifying disguise. Sirius Black doesn't escape Azkaban to protect Harry Potter. He escapes to warn a world that has gone blind, to hunt the monster wearing his best friend's son's face. The wizarding world saw a series of heroic triumphs. The reality was a masterclass in manipulation. Year 2, the Chamber of Secrets wasn't a threat. It was an inheritance. He didn't fight the basilisk. He commanded it, tamed it. A pet, returned to its master. The diary of Tom Riddle wasn't a weapon against him. It was a conference. He destroyed the diary Horcrux, not to defeat his past self, but to reabsorb its power. He emerged stronger, his soul knitting itself back together, piece by stolen piece. The Triwizard Tournament was not a competition. It was a stage, a grand performance to solidify his legend, to cement the world's adoration and trust. Every task overcome, every cheer from the crowd, was a nail in the coffin of the wizarding world. They weren't watching a hero, they were witnessing a coronation, played out over 7 years. The prophecy was never wrong. The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord was born as the 7th month died. But it was never about vanquishing, it was about supplanting. The power the Dark Lord knew not was the perfect disguise, the face of their own savior. Dumbledore, for all his wisdom, suspected a wound, a taint. He never suspected a total occupation. He spent years trying to save a boy who was already gone, a soul that had been replaced before it could even form. The final battle wouldn't be for the soul of the wizarding world. That had already been lost, paid for with cheers and applause. How do you fight an enemy when you've spent a lifetime calling him your hero?